That clap that started it.
That's just to sync up audio and visual.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
I didn't even know
You
that.
thought I'm just
I'm like,
excited
why
for
is-
the show?
No, I thought it was.
1 hour.
Yay!
I thought it was his version of like take one action.
Well, that's
So,
what
like,
that is. Those are markers.
Oh, okay. See,
It
I
just
don't-
syncs everything up.
learn something
You
every
think
day.
I'm out here just super excited?
Or something like that's like this 1, 2, 3 team or something like.
No,
Yeah.
dude.
Hands in.
I'm working,
Yeah.
man.
Okay. I thought so. Sorry.
It's fine.
It's cool. How,
Sorry about
how are
that.
you guys doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm, half of my breakfast. I ate half, which my breakfast is usually pretty big. But I'm fueled. I'm fed. So I mean, I eat all the time. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling
Thanks
good.
for letting me introduce
The
too.
life.
I appreciate that.
Would you like to introduce
Yeah, I
our
need to,
very
don't you
special
think?
Okay, you
guest?
can cut it.
Yes, we have an
Sorry.
amazing guest today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Mhm.
We have Rena Jordan with us today. She is our first female, I'm going to say a fitness guru because you look like you are chiseled. So,
Thank you.
Rena Jordan, guys.
Thank you. Super
Yeah.
excited to be here.
um,
Thanks for having me.
so to kind of get into it a little bit, the show, we talk about everything,
Mhm.
but we are kind of based around fitness and that
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Mhm.
Kinda.
Oh, my
Kinda. You don't think so?
No, I said
Oh.
kinda. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
75%.
about
We dip
so.
our toe
Yeah.
into
About
it.
so. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion,
Mhm.
you have the best female physique in that gym.
Oh.
And I
Appreciate it.
I trip out sometimes, and I tell everybody this. I need to stop telling people this. There's sometimes where I'm like staring at you,
yeah.
but it's just because I know it's super weird, but I like the way your body is moving. You
Mhm.
look.
He looks like
you-
guys too,
Athletic.
just to let you know.
What
He
was
tells
that?
guys
Yeah,
the
look
same.
I tell guys the same thing. I
Yeah,
just
so
I
don't- it's
appreciate
not-
a good body.
Yeah.
I'm not checking it out sexually. I'm
Mhm.
not doing anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just I like when you lift, I see your muscles move. I see the hard work. I see the dedication. That like gives me motivation.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, sometimes it comes in the form of staring.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I'll lock eyes with people sometimes, and I know they think I'm being a creep, but I'm just like,
no.
good job.
You can tell a good intentional
Yeah.
stare
Yeah, yeah.
versus envy.
Yeah.
Do you get that a lot?
I do, especially even outside of the gym. I notice when I go into the supermarket or anywhere, sometimes I have to be more cautious about what I wear and even how I dress. I went into Aldi the other day and just a lot. Yeah, I mean, people are like, a lot of the older people, especially, they appreciate when they see younger people like me
Right.
take care of their body. So the man was like, do you do CrossFit or what do you do? And then
Yeah.
I told him kind of my workout style. And then he's like, I just love to see that. So it's always in good, with good heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do get it a lot. And even
Do you have the creeps coming up to you?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
A lot of the time
I wish
it's-
they'd come up to me. I'd be like, what's up?
Yeah, it's in the form of some people it's different. Yesterday, somebody wanted to arm wrestle me. A man and his wife were sitting, at their table, and he's like, "Wow, I was gonna ask my wife if I could arm wrestle you." But
While
I
you're
knew-
at work.
yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, well, I knew I would lose, and she'd probably divorce me, and things like that." And it's just you kind of give that
Yeah, it's
kind
kinda
of
weird.
nervous
That
laugh, and
sucks.
you're like,
Yeah.
But yeah, other times I was walking around the gym and a man's like, "Oh, why are you walking like your lats are so big?" And I'm just
Because they
You
are.
don't know what to
motherfucker. What do you
say
mean?
in the moment, So it's after the fact when it happens, then you say, "Oh," you think to yourself, "Well, I could have said this," but in the moment you're just
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it happens out of nowhere.
And you're
Right.
probably very humble as well. So it's kind of
Mhm.
hard to come back at someone like, the reality is, the real answer is, I just work my ass off, and you probably don't work as hard as I do,
Yeah.
whether you're a male or a female.
Yeah.
And there is that huge envy side of that where it's
Mhm.
like, well, I hate it. It's one of those things. I feel it as well.
Mhm.
But seeing you like that, for me, like you say, it inspires me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to work harder
Yeah.
in a good way. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But you have that other side where it's like, oh, well, she must be on something, or
Yeah.
something like that. And
Uh-huh.
it's very.
Is it flattering?
It is is flattering. I mean, some of the times when somebody asks me, "Are you like on roids?" I've never even heard of. I'm like, roids.
Yeah.
And they're like steroids. I'd never even heard that phrase before.
Right.
Certain questions, a lot of the times, the number one question is, "Do you compete? What are you
That's what I
competing
asked
for?"
you.
Yeah.
So were you offended?
No, I
Okay.
wasn't offended, but I noticed. So that's my most common question. But a lot of the times, I think to myself, well, no shade towards Garrett, but sometimes they come up and they're like, "Do you compete?" If I was a male and I looked like I was working extremely hard, looked chiseled, ripped, would would they have asked me the same question? So a lot of the times in my eyes, I'm like, why do females have to be doing it for something? Other men, like, Jesse, are you competing for something? It's a little, no, you
Yeah.
definitely very well could be. But a lot of the times I think we just kind of match competing to,
Like
it's a
you
little
have to
bit
do it because
different.
you want something at the end of
Yeah.
that road, when really all it is you just trying to be your best.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, like, men can just work out and just to work out. But with females, it's like, well, you have to be doing it for something. You can't just be a fit female.
Wow.
But no, I knew yours was because I can tell.
But you're not talking about me, because I've asked guys, that's my question.
No, yeah.
I asked people, what do you do? Have you ever been? I asked him if he ever been on a show, and then he has. That's just, there's a difference. It's like I see you as like an elite.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not that you looked a certain way, so
Yeah.
you can only be doing that if you're in this lifestyle. It's not that. It's just I saw you, and you're in a different category in my mind. Women don't walk around like you. Most men can't walk around like you. So I see it and I'm like, you know what? There's love for the sport. There's love, even if it's just a hobby, there's love for it. You love your body, you love yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, do you compete? Because if, in my mind, the only reason I'm asking you is because my next question is, how many times did you take first place?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
How come
there has to be an outcome?
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it weird for a woman to look a certain way? I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, like you said, around the humble side, I've always, and of course it's always a nice question. It's flattering to hear, but a lot of the times I have to be, again, mindful of how I answer. Cause sometimes, like with men, if you come off the wrong way, and I don't want to upset anybody, so a lot of the times you can just sense your audience.
Yeah.
And how this person, are they trying to like more so flirt with me? Is this their way to like slowly ask for my Snapchat or my number? Or are they just genuinely curious on my workout split? A lot of the times with that question, then I'll go deep into my workout split and I'll tell them everything I do, how I eat. And then it's just, they gain a lot more respect, for me. But
can you tell us a little bit about that? Like what's your
Misplay?
Your grind, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can take you back also to like, a year ago.
Well, you're very young.
Yeah. I'm 19.
You're 19.
I'm 19. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would, I would have guessed 22, 23.
Oh, yeah, a younger side for sure, but not teens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
because
heck
just
no.
turned 19 2 months
Yeah,
ago.
because your physique is so developed, and it's like, yeah, you can do it at a certain age, but you don't see like 16, 17, 18-year-olds take it to that level. So that's very impressive.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I fell in love with it back in high school. Sophomore year, I had to take a strength and conditioning class. Had to. It was mandatory. Didn't like it. I really didn't enjoy it. I mean, I would wear sweaters, hoodies, sweatpants. I just wanted to, I would kind of, when the coach wasn't looking, I would just kind of days off or, go talk to a friend. And then it was after that how I really started to feel the effect. I'm like, wow, what is this feeling afterwards? It was that serotonin and that dopamine that, really got going after the workout. And then, of course, with bad toxic relationships and everything like that, you look to something for an escape. So I mean, we can also touch on that later, but so that really was what started it. And then I really didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I never wanted to hire like a coach. I'm like, well, I want to try to do as much as I can through me. And at the time I had my strength and conditioning coach helping me. And then I could always DM him on Instagram if I had any questions about a certain exercise. So I was doing a lot more of like hypertrophy work. I would do the lower or push-pull legs and leg day and shoulder day and tricep day and, arm and bicep, whatever.
The bro split.
Yeah, bro. I was doing like the typical bro split.
I love that bro split.
Yeah.
Fuck
And
you.
It
works for me. Man.
I'm not throwing dirt on it. I'm just calling it for what it is.
And that's the beauty of it. It's whatever makes you, as long as you're moving. And that's what I've taken. As long as we humans are made to move. We are made to move. And oftentimes we're just way too stagnant. And that's what's killing us in a sense. But so now I'm more on the side of, I do a squat and pull day and then a bend and a push. So I break my split into movement patterns. So the squat pattern and then the bend pattern. And by bend, I mean like a hinge, like an RDL, a kettlebell swing, a good morning. So I'll do that along with my push variants. So like an overhead press, chest press, incline press. And I do that because think about holding on to a barbell. That's a lot of forearm work, right? It's a lot of grip. So then if I were to do a pull-up or a row, I'm like, wow, my forearms are going to light on fire. And if that's what you want to do, okay. But it's called, so I want to pair complementary exercises together. So one exercise that's not going to affect the next, because I don't want to burn myself out,
Right,
so that's, let's say you really want to overload your shoulders, then you could do, your shoulder day, your push day. But the reason I do that is so I can give my energy towards each exercise fully without getting over fatigued.
So you get more bang for your buck.
Basically, that's a good
That's
way to put it.
impressive.
Yeah.
And you've been in the gym how long?
In the gym, I would say 2 years.
And you have this kind of information already?
Yeah, I mean,
that's amazing.
I do my research. I really do.
Heck yeah.
And it's not as much like article reading and things like that. I listen to a lot of, influencers, and I listen to a lot of podcasts and I ask questions. If I see somebody, and that's a lot of the times too, I feel like I don't give those compliments and that love that I receive back. And that's what I struggle with too. I'm like, wow, I'm getting all these compliments. These people are stopping their workouts to tell me how great I look. And I feel like I don't give that back.
How would you?
So
could it?
Yeah.
Is it in part like maybe you don't want to interrupt them in certain moments?
I think
even though they do that to you.
That's the thing. I'm more on the really shy side. And a lot of people are like, wow, you just seem so intimidating from an outside. And I'm trying to work on that and like not look more approachable. But
you're doing a good job.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think I am more timid too, because I'm like, well, how are they going to respond? So in a sense, that's why I don't. But it's like, if somebody can come up to me and say that, why can't I? So I think I really need to work on giving that back as well, of how much I
But how
receive.
do you, again, like what does that look like? What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if I see somebody with a great physique, letting them know like, hey, like you're killing it.
Oh.
I mean, just like, just how people tell me like you're doing a great job. I was watching that. And
are you okay? So we kind of had this conversation yesterday on the last podcast. With that, you can go up to someone and say, you're kicking butt, like your physique's awesome. But is it kind of, do you feel like it would be iffy to do that? And maybe they're thinking like, oh, she likes me.
Oh, that's, yeah. Yeah.
And it's kind of like, whoa, like I'm just complimenting.
Yeah.
Because it kind of works vice versa, because like you say you kind of have to depict whether someone's complimenting you based on trying to get information or they're just trying to hit on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does that ever like run through your mind? Like, well, maybe they might think the same thing if I do so.
See, that's good. I mean, a lot of the time that you bring that up, it's good. I don't really compliment or approach males. Honestly,
right?
The only time I remember doing that one time in the gym, I do those power cleans and snatches and Olympic lifts like that. And I asked him, I said, wow, like, how did you get your snatch to look so flawless like that? Or I asked him about a technique on the snatch.
And then what did you say?
Well, I was like, after 13 years of, no, it was not.
And that was, I mean, I didn't think, afterwards and I said, can I watch you do one just so I can like kind of, because nobody really in the gym does those Olympic lifts because it's not a CrossFit, it's a global gym.
Right.
You know? So then I was like, do you mind if I watch? Because it was like an in-person snatch. And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, like I get nervous when, pretty girls watch me and then see that. Then I'm like, well,
that takes it to a different level.
Yeah.
Now it's
You're like, I'm going to watch you from over here.
On the turf.
I'll be over here.
Yeah.
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 So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Being a female, when you go to the gym, I'm sure you're not there looking for a date.
Yeah.
You're not there hoping to get hit on.
Mm-mm.
Is there any way that somebody could approach you in a way that you would like? Or is it, do we just need to kind of be done with that and we're in the gym, let's leave each other alone?
You mean if he was trying to like kind of get to know me or thought of like.
What would it take for him to get your number or Snapchat?
See, I think the reason why he asked that, just to elaborate, is because I've told him, and I mean, it's probably not why he asked you, but for me personally, like, that's why I don't go and I don't talk to women, because I don't feel like they want to be talked to in that moment because they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you think to yourself, I like this girl or she seems interesting, but I'll never see her anywhere but here.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of the times, I mean, I've gotten a few Snapchats and I've given out my number.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times after the fact, I'll think to myself, well, how many other girls has he done this to? That's my mentality, because it's like, is he one of those guys that just goes to the gym to get other girls' numbers? Am I just one of many?
Gotcha.
So a lot of the times after, I'm like, I feel kind of, man, I don't want to feel like I'm just one of the rest.
Mhm.
But but to answer your question, a nice approach would, I don't.
Or does it just depend?
Like, do you come here often?
Yeah, that's stupid.
I'm going to do that all the time now.
Yeah, it'll work too.
When I've given out my information to people, a lot of the times we'll make that distinct eye contact. So, I mean, if I keep looking over at him on a machine,
that's a sign.
And then it is, he's making that back. I don't mind the eye contact, but don't, what's not how you, what I think is the least attractive is when they're very forward and very like they just own the place. When a guy thinks he's just too cool, I'm like, who told you were hot stuff?
Yeah.
That's when it's kind of like, and then just
it's a turn off.
Tell
you
it is a turn off. So.
I know.
You got to stop running the gym like that.
I know. Look at that ass, Mom.
and we were talking about this as well, where it's like, that's another reason why it's so hard to talk to, whether you're female, male, whatever, to that other gender you like. It's so hard to talk to them in that setting because, like you just said, you don't know if that's their thing and that's what they do, or if they're really being genuine and actually do want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And so it also kills it for those that are actually trying, your favorite word, to get something going. Like,
but it's like what you just said. If you don't do it at the gym, where are you going to do it?
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're like, I wish I met you somewhere else. Like in the middle of
Because
an
now
aisle
you become
at
a
Target.
stalker and you accidentally run into them on their way home or something stupid.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Or like, I'm waiting for you in the parking lot. That's the only way I can talk. Like, come on, like,
no. What are you supposed to do then?
Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Maybe don't do it on the
No.
first time. But like you can build up that gym etiquette, because most gym conversations are a head nod or a wave or a hi or how are you. Do that for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then someone else goes and talks to them, and now you're just
cool.
You lost your chance.
Cool.
A good segue is like, what are you hitting today? That's often, what somebody would ask me. But honestly, looking at the whole spectrum, I would honestly prefer somebody to approach me face to face in the gym, flirt with me, rather than just texting me over a DM for the first time ever. I would much rather.
Oh, that works.
I've always told, this is what This is what I've always said when I find my future, honey, I want a story. This is how we met.
Gotcha.
I don't just want, you slid in my DMs and that was that.
Yeah.
I want, I tripped over a plate and, he, or whatever. I want a story. So.
He was eating French fries in the corner somewhere. But
I gave him the Heimlich, and then we just
we got to call like these segments like cheat code and like cut them out, because there are going to be men and or women that have questions that will never be answered because they don't have this type of information. And I'm not saying that you're like every woman.
Oh yeah.
But like that it's
a woman's perspective.
Yeah. Don't DM the first time to try to get a date. That's a cheat code.
Don't come in too macho.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't be. Yeah. You're not that. You know.
Right.
We've seen better.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So.
Because it's always hard when you say you text on Snapchat for a few weeks and then you're like, oh, it's finally time to meet him. Like, it's just way harder.
Yeah.
And you can be such a different person over the phone. It's fake. It's
My thing is,
real.
what if it doesn't work out? Now you guys still have to go to the same gym, or someone's got to go to a different gym, and that sucks too.
And it's like if you've seen me in person this whole time and then you don't approach me and you just wait to text me, that kind of says a lot about why couldn't he just approach me, and it's way more attractive when a guy can just face to face make eye contact.
Cheat code, baby. This is cheat code time.
But I've definitely had a lot of guys, they approach me but they can't keep eye contact, or they only talk about themselves, and that's a big one too, and not even ask about what about you, and I'm huge on that too. I want to sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking too much about myself, but when guys no eye contact and they don't ask anything
and
about you,
I.
We were just talking about this yesterday. How come it's up to men to approach the women? I think that's the way it's supposed to be, because I feel like women are the catch.
It's hard. I agree.
I feel like you guys are the goal. You guys are the prize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that pecking order.
Right. But there's that fine line, because again, she might get 15 guys in a random week that comes up to her. And now she has to figure out which one, because it's only going to be one, which one of these 15 dudes is actually genuine.
Yeah.
So it's like
on The Bachelor.
You're like, okay, I got
the rose.
I got a 6.8% chance to get this right.
Yeah.
So that's math.
I don't do math. That's fine.
But it also works the other way. Like, it's, how can a woman like go up to a guy? Because I've asked the same thing. I asked on the last podcast, like, why don't they take that initiative as well and just say, you know what, I like you, or just start a conversation. You don't have to say I like you, but that kind of like gives a hint. But then now they're putting themselves out there, because again, one of those 15 guys or 14 of those 15 guys are just gonna be like, hook, line, and sinker.
I think they do, though. I think women do. It's just more subtle. They might not do it with words, but they do it with the constantly looking at you while you're on the machine, saying hi to you, saying this and that.
And not to say that that doesn't mean they like you. So don't think that every girl that looks at you likes you. Because you
might just have a booger hanging out of your
something, that, or maybe your workouts are awesome and they like the way you work out. Simple as that. So,
and my dad's always taught me, you are the guy is the pursuer. You are to be pursued, and that.
So you agree with me then?
I do.
Okay,
but I'm trying to see from other people's. That's a big thing I'm working on. It's like, try to see it from other people's point of view, and I think it just depends a lot about what type of female you are. You can sense a female that was so forward. You see a couple, you're like, oh my gosh, she totally wears the pants, or she totally was the one. She totally is the ringleader.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a female to where I don't want to come off as too aggressive, and I don't want to be the man of the relationship. It's not, we can be equal, but I want a protector. I want some, that's what personally. So I don't want to come off to a male that I am the, I'm the pursuer, or so I just don't want to come off too forward. But some guys really like that. Some guys are like, oh, she asked for my Snapchat and that's how we got going, and it works, but it just depends on what type of female you are.
Is it hard to be in a relationship with someone that isn't as focused on the gym as you? Or health and fitness? People
ask me, because I'm not in a current relationship right now, but people have asked me, do you need someone who's jacked? Do you only need someone that's gonna be a lot
Serious.
of the time? They're like, are you only gonna date somebody who's jacked or has muscle?
Imagine your guys' babies.
They'd
They'd come out pressing 315, dude.
It's no. I definitely want somebody who cares about their health. Not always. I've been with my fair share of guys, and mind you, years back, I mean, my eating is very clean. I'll say that. But years back, of course,
yeah, I just walked in and you were eating
a kale and ground turkey,
egg whites and all this wonderful stuff. Yeah.
So, but I've been with
Kudos.
guys who just want to go, oh, let's just go get a burrito, or let's just go make it quick. And I definitely want somebody, not if they're not into the gym, fine, but at least like some form of movement, even fishing, or I like to be outside, or I like to go on, walks, or I care about what I eat. Somebody who cares about their health to an extent is, so no, they don't have to love the gym. I mean, of course, that would be nice if we could, like, you can spot me, I can spot you,
right.
And, just knew their way
That's
around
ideal.
the gym. Yeah. But just definitely someone who cares about their well-being and, because it's nobody's going to do that for you. And I've made it clear to a lot of guys, I'm not going to mother you. I'm not your mom. I can't engrave certain things in you.
I'll
have to
bench your mom, but I'm
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Is it challenging though? Like, have you ever been with a man who was intimidated by you?
I think that's why a lot of these relationships, or all of them, have ended.
Really?
I've never ended with a guy on necessarily good terms, unless we were just talking. You guys know, like, the talking phase, and then there's that a little bit past that, like the boyfriend, girlfriend, and meeting each other's parents. But the few that I've had where we took it to, we got like later down the road, a few months, over 6 months, where we were more on the serious side. It didn't end very well, and it's mainly because my most previous, yes, he was a meathead, definitely. He loved the gym, but you can sense it, and just guys that think that they want to know, you can't know more than them. I'll give you an example. So he was really good with tools. He knew how to build. He put in my ceiling fans and everything, and I would ask him kind of about it, and it just kind of like a sense like, I don't really want you to learn. I should know this. It's not really a female's world kind of job thing. So I mean, that's how. But intimidated, I try to see past that, but a lot of the times, like my mom, she knows best, and I put that, towards her. She can sense when a guy is just no bueno.
She got the bullshit.
Yeah, she knows what's up.
She's got that meter on, like.
Yeah, and she'll be like, Rena, well, I think you can kind of sense that he is like a little, intimidated, or you just have. She tells me, like, that you have so much to offer.
Yeah.
And of course, it's hard for me to say that as well, because, like, again, the modest side. But
you don't want to lower your standards just because, that's where that person's at. You kind of want to, like, meet in the middle, like you were talking about, and learn off of each other. Like, you don't have to be the same individuals, but you don't want someone that's just gaming every night, eating Cheetos, and having fast food all the time.
Bro.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, whether you can be on your A game, but you don't want to have those kind of distractions, because now there isn't like that continuance of being better.
Yeah. And then, I guess your question, you were asking if that's why they've kind of ended, but they've ended because. Yeah.
If you feel comfortable.
No, of me stepping up and being like, well, I think I know my worth better. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. So it's not really like intimidated, but because I'm like, wow, they probably haven't had a lot of females tell them that they're not going to speak to them that way. My most current relationship, I remember we were on the phone, and then I had said something. We were arguing, we were bickering, and then, I guess I interrupted him. And then we were on the phone. He goes, like, I usually don't curse, but he's like, did you just fucking interrupt me? And I'm like, yeah,
That's
I actually did.
exactly what happened.
And then I see that, and I heard that. I'm like, wow, he just spoke to me that way. A guy who claims, oh my gosh, like I love you, like you know, they wouldn't speak to you that way, even as mad as they know. So I'm like, wow, I had to take a step back and be like, Rena, you are worth more than that verbal abuse. You know, it's like
100%.
you certain things you're just not gonna take anymore, and that's really why it's ended. My other, relationship before that, again, just the verbal abuse. And then when I'm like, I think I'm done, and then he's like, well, you're never gonna find anyone that's gonna put up with, your pettiness. So, and just
after
things
this
like
episode,
that.
there'll be 50
with
guys
your-
that are willing
with
to
your
put up with
greatness.
whatever you
Yeah.
want.
No one's gonna put up with your greatness.
Yeah.
Like, come
And
on.
What a
lot of the
weenie.
times-
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What's
and
his at?
again-
I'll add him in there.
yeah. And you have to guess, think these are like, 18, 19. I mean, I'm 22-year-old guys. And of course, our brains aren't even fully developed, but that gives them no
No.
excuse. But it's just,
But it's good that you know
yeah.
that you won't accept a certain level
Yeah.
of disrespect.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and that's, I had to, but it took me a while to, like
Mhm.
before that, there have been some times where I'm like, that's kind of a red flag, but, I'm going to kind of ignore it. But
And it's not
have
100%,
to.
but like for the most part, I've always been in the belief that women mature way faster than guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
you know what I'm
It's
saying?
fair.
Like,
yeah.
What?
it's fair.
She's
It's
way
true.
more mature than I am. I'm 30.
Oh yeah. Well, we know that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not even close. But yeah, I've always felt like
Well, hold on. Why are you
What?
now you're talking shit, and I know my worth, and I'm not going to be talked to like that.
Okay.
Oh,
Shut-
that's the arena way.
Yeah, bro, I'm learning right now. Go off.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, like it's I've always felt that way. I mean, just from personal experience. I'm just
Mhm.
even when I was like 18, 19, I was like my thoughts were like so far off of like not even
Yeah.
wanting to like build anything. I'm just like, no, I want to go play in the mud or,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term. But for some reason, like I've always believed that, and it's different for everyone, but I can see like a 22-year-old woman with like a 35-year-old man because it's kind of like even at that point. Because it does take a man a little bit longer for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but as opposed to like seeing a 20-year-old man with like a 35-year-old woman,
Mhm.
like that's going to be her son, basically.
Yeah.
That's what
so
it's gonna be
funny.
like.
Yeah.
I mean, the 35-year-old can still be the 22-year-old woman's son,
Uh-huh.
but it's just I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
No,
but-
I definitely, while you say that, and now that I've had these experiences, I definitely prefer older guys. And it's just so funny. I'm like, wow, I'm never going to go younger ever again.
Yeah.
But even, when I would work over at the gym, I would check some of the accounts and I can see the birthdays and everything. And
That's awesome.
That's a cheat
awesome.
code. That's
awesome.
cheat code.
Again, so I see I'm being a hypocrite. I can't approach a guy, I mean, I'm at work, but I'm at the gym because I would work at the front desk at the gym, and they're like 30, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's just because now that I'm kind of scarred from this, verbal abuse, from this, treatment, I'm like, wow, like, I just want somebody who's more mature, has a better head on their shoulders, and so.
Yeah, but 30 might not be it though. That might be a little too old for
Oh,
you, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of the times the golden number is like 28, and then I'm like,
That's
That's-
pretty
it's kind of
old.
like it's not
There's
older.
no such thing as old.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop saying that.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
offensive.
sorry. I'm sorry. You're right.
That's
Fuck.
Yeah.
super offensive.
No, I agree. It is older.
I call it whatever your age is on Earth, not your age old.
Dude, I hate
No.
you.
Why?
Just anyway.
You're 30 years on Earth. That's what you are. You're not 30 years old.
30 years of knowledge.
You're just that's what you are.
Well,
Okay.
And I don't think like
yeah.
you're 30, right?
I'm 30.
Let's put that out there again. I don't think like you have this way about you that screams, I'm 30. So a woman that's 20, 21, 22
Mhm.
is going to come across and say, well, no, he's 30. No, I think it's going to be your presentation, how you are, how you act. Can there be a deal breaker down the line where it's like, well, actually, you thought I was 24, but I'm actually 34. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. But even at that, like, I just don't.
Well, then that's just my thing then.
Yeah.
Personally.
So what would you say is the threshold for like
5 years?
For any age group?
Up and down.
Okay.
For
I respect
me,
that.
not
I
for any
respect
age
that.
group.
No, I respect
for me.
that.
Up and
I
down.
respect
For
that.
me.
Yeah.
I respect
Yeah, because
that.
sometimes I realize I'm like, wow, there's a whole generation difference. Some things you just, and a lot of the times, I mean, the last relationship, he was 22.
Yeah.
And even so, I'm like, wow, he has 3 years on me, 3 years of knowledge. And I felt not dumb. I'd never like to call myself dumb, but I definitely am like, wow, certain things he would tell me. And I'm like, what is that? And it was almost like, you don't know that?
Yeah.
So I agree in your sense. A good like 5 years is most appropriate.
Well, let me explain why.
Yeah.
Let me explain why.
Yeah.
Especially when the woman is older. In most cases, women have a harder time with their age, especially the higher end number. It'll just cause not issue, but uneasiness, because there's always, and then if other people are involved in your relationship, they'll make fun of you passive aggressively, robbing the cradle, cougar, all that stuff. And I think that point, it just takes a mental toll on you, and that could affect the relationship. I don't think a 5-year gap either which way at max, that there's still enough time there, that you're close enough in age that it's fine.
Yeah.
But I think once you start hitting the 10, the 15, now there's nothing wrong with it. Does it work? Sure. But it's been my experience that
you've never gone over or under 10 years or 5 years?
I'm not talking about me right now. We're not. I have.
Okay.
And that's why.
But that's why you can speak on it,
That's why
because
I know
now
what
you
I'm
have experience.
right.
Yeah.
So it takes a mental toll.
Yeah.
Like, I have that age threshold as well. But it's just also based on past experiences. But then, like, I'm so bad with like, attraction is attraction, but I'm like really bad with when I see someone and I'm like, okay, 23, 24. Okay, I like them, I'll go up to them.
17, 18.
No.
What do you mean?
No.
There's something in the water, dude. These young girls.
Well,
like,
usually
what are you guys eating?
You have no idea how old people are anymore.
Right, but like, I'm not where I'm at genuinely, like, for the most part, I'm in the gym. So that's where I will see these women.
Oh.
I'm assuming that I'm not going to see a lot of 17-year-olds there. Could it happen? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for the most part, and they end up being like 19, 20, and I'm like, ooh, and it's like,
right,
I can be your dad.
Right.
But that's just that, but if age wasn't an issue, like, it's as far as like, if I didn't know your age, you didn't know my age.
So you're lying the whole relationship?
No, because it's a number. It's about how you hit it off with that person.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just bad with that. That's all it is. But
you're agreeing with me.
In what way?
Because yes, it can work, but mentally it would mess with you, and that would cause issues. That's all I'm saying. You could do it.
Yeah, like for some reason, my magic number has always been at this point where I'm at 23.
Okay.
So what I do is for every 2 years I age, that number goes up 1.
Okay.
So like in 2 years, I'm hoping in 2 years I'm not still single, but I'm saying like, that's how that works.
That's your new nickname.
What's
the
that?
algorithm.
I like that one. Thank you.
I like that too.
Thanks. I bring up math sometimes too. So okay, I'll do that. Okay, I got to step my game up now, though.
For sure.
But,
that makes sense. Yeah,
that's just me, because I feel like that's how it takes 2 of our years to complete like one of their years mentally.
Yeah, and I think because it's just all sounds, so again, there's so many sides.
Yeah. So
that's why I think for me it's best that I'm just, especially when a guy asks me, I'm just, and that's also a good point. Sometimes I'm like, how do I nicely say no? A lot of the times I'm like, why do I have to feel as if I have to lie?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually in a relationship. Why do I have to say that? Why can't I just say, no, actually, I don't want to give out my number. You feel offensive. So, I mean, a lot of the times we feel as though we owe something to somebody we don't even know as females. And that's what I have to remember. It's like, you don't know him. He just approached you. You don't owe him anything.
Yeah.
Could you look into that a little deeper with us and
Yeah.
maybe answer why do you think you feel that way? Like, let's work that out.
Yeah. I think it's great to talk about. Oh my gosh. I feel like, I think it goes back to the point where we don't want to be offensive. I think females are deemed a lot more, we have to be the resolver, we have to be the fixers, we're the gentle side, and just so many that we wear so many hats. And I feel like that's why we need to let them down easy, or I don't want to hurt their feelings. And it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just, when you have to make up a lie on the spot. And I'm not a liar, but
Right.
I remember one time, he's like, well, can I get your number? And no, I have a boyfriend. He's actually up in Flagstaff right now. I'm like, wow, I didn't even need to expand so much on that
He lives
lie.
in
I
Canada.
was
You wouldn't
just-
know him.
My hands were sweaty.
Yeah.
But again, it goes to so many different realms. It's females, let's say a girl lifts her arms up in the gym. You expect to see no armpit hair. But what if, why? That's my question too. Why do we feel like we have to do all these things and be, well kept? And
Perfect.
why do we have to shave? Like, why do we have to
perfect.
be
Yeah.
so nice? So to answer your question, it's hard. And that's still something I'm trying to figure out every day. Why do I feel like I have to, let them down easier,
Mhm.
be so, charismatic in a
And
way?
But what's
Well,
going to happen if you are just straight up? If you just
Yeah.
say no, what's going to
Mhm.
happen?
I guess it would be more awkward because I guess I'm also scared of it being, scared of the awkwardness. It's
Yeah.
no, and then I feel almost bad in a way. I'm like, oh, they're just gonna back away slowly, or they just say okay and then
Yeah.
return to their squat rack, or so that's
I mean, yeah,
that's a good way though.
it's-
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it is
Nothing.
tough. I mean, just looking at it, if I was a female, and I didn't want to interact with someone and they
Mhm.
asked me for my number, obviously the first thought is, hey, I have a boyfriend, or this, that, and the
Mhm.
other. But I guess the other way I would do it, and I'm not a female,
Mhm.
but I'm not. Stop looking at me that way.
Get there, bro.
Stop.
Sorry.
But I would just say, like, at the moment I'm not looking to interact with anyone. Kind of
Mhm.
like it's not about you, it's about me type of thing. Like I'm focused on what I'm doing with my life right now, and I don't want to,
lead you on, yeah.
because for some reason it sucks. But to be
Mhm.
straightforward and be like, no, it's I don't want to give you my number. Now it's like you're getting this negative energy from that person because that person's gonna walk away and in his head talk all kinds of shit and like fuck that person and why does she think
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
whether it's none of your business to what someone else thinks about you,
yeah.
but still you just don't want to have that feeling. You're there to accomplish something and you don't want to even have those thoughts.
Yeah, but then you're shooting yourself in the foot because if she goes through that whole ordeal trying to not hurt somebody's feelings rather than just saying no, 2 weeks later she shows up and she's working out with a dude. Maybe it's a new boyfriend. Now this guy comes and says some shit and it's just awkward again.
No,
you
'cause
just
it's
saved
2 weeks
yourself some
later.
time.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks later, man. Things can change in 24 hours.
Cool.
I-
But then
yeah.
what's to stop that guy? If he's going to be an asshole, he's going to be an asshole anyway.
The new guy's
2
gonna
weeks
whoop
isn't
his
going to
ass.
change.
Mhm.
And that's not awkward. But I think if you were able to just be like, no, thank you.
yeah.
Done.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and then as men, what would you do? Would you say, okay, I respect that, and then walk away?
I
that how
would.
you would
I'd
say?
be embarrassed, but I would.
How would you deal with that embarrassment, though? Do you think?
So
Just-
I don't even think I've been there.
Oh,
Like,
I've been there
Oh.
too. And I
Where they just said,
I've
no,
appro-
thank you?
I handled it like a
Yeah,
champ,
like
though.
Oh. Wow, I didn't know females like that existed. I've never met another female.
maybe they're
who-
just towards me, but
Oh.
No, it's happened to me.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I see you as a brother. I love you like a friend.
Oh.
I,
Oh, well,
that's
So they
like,
no,
always
but-
do give a reason.
well, no. For me, it's been like just
Mm.
rant. Like if I I don't just go up to random girls.
Yeah.
But like, let's say, for example, in the gym, and I've been in the gym for a while, and I've noticed this particular person at least 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go up and talk to her, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't even just be like, hey, do you want to hang out? It's not even like that. It's more like, I see you're working on this, whatever, you know, and I'll elaborate based on what they're doing and see if like, hey, would you ever mind like working out together or something like that, just so I can learn from you. And I've gotten like, no, thank you. I like working out by myself. So that for me is enough information. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. I like that answer because now I know it's erased from my memory. I don't have to think about it anymore. But you still do walk away where it's like, shit, you know, but that's something you have to get over.
Yeah.
As opposed to having that thought where you're just like, okay, I'm still here. Maybe this day I'll get somewhere with her. But when you just get the straight answer, yeah, it sucks, but move
now
on.
You know, because like if you
on.
wouldn't have done that, then you just always wonder like, well, what would she have said? So yeah.
Yep.
But I'm more like you though.
Yeah.
You know how you said when you end up with somebody, it doesn't want to be because somebody slid in your DMs. You want a story.
Yes.
So when it happens to me and I get rejected, the first thing, I don't go, okay, it's erased from my mind. I go, okay, now it's time to give her a story. So now I'm going to pursue this. And
you're going to keep trying.
There's going to be a story.
Oh.
And usually that works.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
in a nice way, in a respectable way. I don't accept the decline. I'm just like, no, I want this, and we're gonna go ahead and make.
And
this.
she usually like caves in.
I don't know about caves in.
Wow.
It's just it's the introduction. Like, hey, I'm interested, and I think you're worth it enough for me to keep trying. This would normally really hurt somebody, but I'm gonna show you I'm
That's
different.
really interesting.
And so it works a lot of the time. I'm not even gonna say most of the time, but a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I give you that
very
story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because you know what you want.
Yeah.
And you have a feeling like. We get those feelings deep down, and it's like
that could have just been an off day for her. Maybe she wasn't super excited. Maybe something bad just happened. Maybe.
Well, that's great because you keep trying to be the pursuer.
Yeah,
you know, which is, and then I will say, even let's say I'm not attracted and went to a certain guy, and they do keep trying. It's almost like more attractive in a sense, or you know what I mean? And as a female, I can, now that you say that, so many like lights like flicked off.
I'm in there playing chess, dude. I do this, bro.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. But I do this.
I'm playing Connect 4 or something. I'm just like, okay, later. He's like, okay.
Even after I end something, and then they keep trying to be like, well, why? You know, it hurts a lot less when because I've definitely had my fair share of guys who I'm just like, you know, I'm just down, and they're like, okay. It does kind of hurt. Like, did I even matter in the first place? Not that we want men to beg,
right?
But it is more flattering when it's, you know, they don't just give up so quickly.
Right.
There's that fine line.
Yeah.
Because,
and I'm like, do I want, am I, that's kind of sinister of me. Do I want them to beg for me? It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, it's that fine line because that's what I think, like, don't feel bad. But usually it's the girl that says, peace, bruh. Like, that's enough.
Yeah.
Whatever. And for whatever reason. And I've had times where I'm like, I wanted it to end, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then deep down, I'm like, yes.
I just feel like when a woman breaks up with you, she's been done for a long time.
Right. But then,
because we think about things far in advance.
Right. It wasn't just that one fight.
We are great at overthinking.
You've been pissed off for like 3 or 4 months.
You mad? Like, no, I'm not mad.
Right.
You know,
I'm fine.
Everything's making sense.
She's all dry. One word response. I'm not mad. Yeah. But then as females, of course, we want them to ask, like, okay, talk to me. You know, why are you mad? But, you know, when you're like, I'm not mad, they're like, okay. Again, it's just,
you're like, I want to tell you why, though.
Yeah, and that's where it has a lot to come in. Have you heard of like ask culture and guess culture? You know, sort of a thing. So the ask culture. Ask culture.
Oh, ask.
Yeah.
Come on. Sorry, man.
Dude.
I'm sorry.
Really?
No.
That was not a bit. I'm being serious. I thought she said ass culture. I was like,
No.
let's get into it.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, man. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay.
No, I know we're kind of off the fitness realm sort of a thing, but briefly, ask culture is like when you ask for something. Oh, hey, can you help me with this? But as females, I think we're a lot more of a guess culture. We want you to almost read our minds, even though it's, you can't do that. So
That's hard.
we want guys to just guess what we need when the guys are just more like upfront, like just tell me what you need and I'll be there.
Yeah. That's what I've always
So-
wondered. It's like, I don't care where we eat. You pick. Okay. Are you sure? Yep. I don't care. We're going. Well, I don't really like it here. And I'm like,
Mhm.
Why
okay.
didn't you say it
All
in the
right.
first place?
all right, we won't
Yeah.
go here. So the thing I've always done with anyone is like, okay, I don't care where we go eat because I'm going to eat wherever we go.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? I don't care either. Okay. Give me 2 places you don't want to go.
Yeah.
Eliminate those 2 places, and then that makes it easier. 9 times out of 10, that
Cheat
third
code.
place, cheat code.
Cheat
Cheat
code.
code.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Mhm.
you learn,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I wanted to ask you something.
Mhm.
You said something interesting earlier
Yeah. Okay.
about your body.
Uh-huh.
You said, can we talk about that?
Yes.
Is it because of the training that you have? I don't want to just.
Yeah.
You tell
let me
me.
go into
You
it.
tell
Yeah.
me.
So it's called Menorrhea, and I was looking into it. I've been looking up. I've been like my own little doctor
Mhm.
for the past few months.
Good.
I've been active again for about 2 years now, consistently. But more recently, my sessions have been a lot more on the intense side. Sometimes I was hitting 2 a days. So I was going in the morning for an intense, more
Nice.
conditioning. And then towards the end of the day or towards mid morning after I'm fed, I'll do a hour and a half,
After
2
I'm
hour.
fed.
Yeah.
What a
like
fucking
a
machine,
beast. I
bro.
know.
I love that.
I'll
Go
in
ahead.
to like a second session, and I've been training this way for a few months now. And so amenorrhea is when you don't have your period for over 3 months, when you used to be pretty regular.
Mhm.
And for me, I was always regular, spot on. Your period should last 28 to 35 days. Always in between. Some females have an app and you keep track that way.
Yeah.
So I never was concerned, and then of course it's, we cramp and it's painful. So every time it comes around, I don't look forward to it. Now I'm like on my knees begging for it. I want those cramps again, because now all the research I've been doing is, and then going to the doctor, and she says it's because of your activity level that you lost your period. And I'm just like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's never something
Yeah.
that you want to hear when you're so, into it with your routine. And now this is like my way of life that I'm like, I can't train less. So now I'm going on month 4, and so my doctor, she's like, you're gonna have to decrease your activity level, and then and I'm like, is there any other way? I even asked. She's not
that's the worst.
She's not an ND. She's not like a naturopath. So, but I even asked him, like, is there any like herbal tea I can do or something?
Yeah.
And because I told her back in 2021, August through December was a really rough time. I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. My job, it was 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. And after my shift, I would work out. I'd be done around 10:30, changed and everything. And I would work out until 1 a.m. And that it wasn't a good headspace, because training didn't feel enjoyable anymore. I felt like I needed to be here, or my body's gonna, it's gonna disintegrate, and I'm not gonna look good. And that's a really
That's that body dysmorphia we were talking about.
Yeah, and it's, oh my gosh, I can go on so many paths with this. When I get those compliments, I almost feel, wow, people expect me to look this way.
Ooh.
What Rena would I be if I didn't have muscle?
Yeah.
If I didn't have, so in that time in my life, I was like, wow, I have to train, or, I'm not going to get the veins I want. I'm not going to, I won't have a sense of purpose anymore if I don't, get this 2-hour long session, if I'm not on the ground, dying. And that's when it was really hard. And that played a lot of, along with school. And then I was, had to finish my homework, and I was doing my homework like during my session, eating during my session. It was had so much on my plate with the mindset of I need to, but I can't go home. But I can't go home and sleep and relax and go home with my family. I would literally get homesick being at the gym for so long, because basically 2 p.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning. And then along with that, sometimes I would pick up overnight shifts and I would be 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And that threw off my circadian rhythm like crazy.
Yeah.
So I think with all that, that was all between August and December. And that's what I think my period just...
Your body's trying to catch up to the normal ways. It's like, okay, what's normal? What time is being awake? What time is sleep time? When do we work out?
Yeah.
Can that affect...
That makes perfect sense.
Can that affect fertility?
It can affect fertility. Yeah. And if I always say, like, I'm not looking to... I mean, that's not a problem right now, but down the road, you know, and then if our body isn't working in the way it's supposed to, there's a problem not producing enough of one hormone, or I have too much of one hormone. So that's when I really dialed in on my eating, on some things I definitely can control.
Yeah.
You know, she offered, well, we can put you on this and we can get you bleeding again. And it's just, but I'm such an advocate. Yeah, I'm such an advocate on.
We can kill it.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to get this done naturally.
Yeah.
So now I agreed that, okay, she's like, well, maybe how many times a day do you work, or how many times a week? And I told her 5. It's been 5, Friday and Saturday. So the days that I work, I don't work out. So she's
full
like,
rest.
Yeah. So Saturday is always a full rest. Friday I call it body health. So I'll go into my ankles and my knees and my hips, my lumbar, and I'll just do mobility work. But yeah, basically full rest.
Okay.
And then she's like, well, let's try to do 4 days. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
no.
So she was like, well, let's try to make your sessions shorter. You know, so right now I'm going once a day now instead of 2 a day. And then I'm like, okay, well, instead of 1 hour and 30, let's try 1 hour and 15. Let's really try to program some supersets, some EMOMs, just some things to dial down the amount of time that we're lifting. So I'm trying that currently. That's the present moment. I'm trying shorter sessions.
Are you with that 15-minute cutoff? Are you still trying to get everything though into that? Because I know, like, if they were like, you can only work out for 1 hour, I'm like, okay, I got to do still everything, but then that hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I do. And the gym is a place where now I know so many people there. It's more than just a gym. It sounds very cliche, but I'm like, I know people here.
Yeah.
I want to hear about your day. I want to hear about your kids. And, you know, this one lady, she's an older woman, and I love talking to her about gardening. And this is what I love. And, you know, but then I'll check the clock and I'm like, wow, I've talked to like 8 people today. I've been here for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So then I've realized that I've been more like fast paced. I'm almost moving quicker so people don't talk to me. But I'm like, Rena, you can't be this way either. You know, human connection is such a big aspect of life. It's huge. And then even sometimes I'll leave through the emergency exit in the backyard. So I can, because I'm like, if I go through, then I'm going to run into like the other people. But again, I've ran into another brick wall. I'm like, I don't want to be this way either.
Yeah.
I want to make these connections, and I also want to get a good workout in. But to answer your question, Jesse, I am cramming the same amount of, you know, lifting, and
that's a warrior.
Just in
that's what
shorter,
you do is.
Yeah. So I'm just allowing for more rest. So if I'm being honest, you know, I did reprogram. I write my own programming, so I did program it to where I took out like an exercise or 2 on like 1 or 2 days. And for me, that's a big step.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's huge. But I have to slowly inch away from feeling like I need to get, because I'm like, you don't, you know?
Well, that's one thing that I love about watching you is you carry around your little book.
Yeah.
And you're writing in it. Dude, it's badass.
Yeah.
Because you're in there to work.
Yep.
And I love watching you work because you're doing such a great job at it.
Yeah.
Do you think that what's your goal with fitness? Or do you just want to feel and live a certain way?
Yeah. Well, now again, with the whole amenorrhea thing, my number one goal now is getting my period back. That's goal number 1. And I'm like, whatever I need to do now with fitness, I will do. I'm just, because if I'm going to focus in on recovery, I need to be 100% of the way there. Again, I'm like, nobody's going to do this for you. So now, and then I asked myself the same thing. I'm like, well, where are you trying to go with this? Everybody asks you if you're going to compete. You always say no. I'm not. If anything, I would love to compete like with CrossFit once I learned the whole muscle up thing.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. But so right now my goal is to be a healthy female. That's what I want. And of course I would be lying if I said physique wasn't a part of it, but I want to not only be able to show muscle, but I want to be able to have, they call it functional muscle. I want to be able to do something. I want to be able to like run. Yeah. I want to be able to, go down as deep in a squat as I can. I want to be able to deadlift off of a plate for extra elevation and not feel pain. I want to be able to do all these things with the muscle that I have. So right now, my goal is just to feel good. And then my upper back has been a big part right now. And I'm like, wow, I don't wake up feeling the best. What can I do differently with my training? And right now it's just a trial and error sort of a thing. And then I have to go back to the question, well, like time is on your side.
Yes.
I'm like, you have the time to experiment with all the programming you want. And you're going to be fine. So
a couple things. I was going to ask about the CrossFit because you do have the CrossFit physique.
Thank you.
I hope that's not a...
No, I love that. I love that.
I do see some workouts because I was into CrossFit for about a year and a half, like 6 years ago. And you can just tell, you can see, you're like, okay, that's a CrossFit body.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I love that. Do you do CrossFit somewhere else, or do you just integrate those workouts at EOS?
Yeah, I'm just like, I use EOS as my box.
Okay.
And it's so funny. I'll move like the bike and the rower next to each other, and I'll move things outside and get my box so I can do my burpee box overs. And just right now I'm like, if I have this membership here, and sometimes CrossFit boxes can be so
and you can
so expensive.
Oh, it is so expensive. Like $100 and some just to a month to do CrossFit, and it works obviously, but if you can get all those and integrate them into the gym you're in now, like that's what I did. That's in that moment. So, and the last thing, it's not even a question from me, is don't stress about what's happening with that thing that's happening right now. Don't think about it. Just keep doing your thing. Do what you feel is the right thing. It'll be back. But the number one thing, and that's just for me, is don't stress about it. Don't even think about it. And before it's going to be normal. But that's the thing. Don't let it like take up part of your day or anything. And it'll work out. Trust me.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah. I need it.
Yeah.
I need it back.
Don't let it consume your life is what you're trying.
Because the more stress, the more you think about it, the more it's not going to, I really think that's what drove it away in the first place.
Yep.
Really?
Stress. Yeah.
So we're coming up on time, but I want to make sure that I really ask you this question.
Yes.
And I would like you to go in depth as much as possible.
Okay.
Do you feel a lot of women are afraid to work out and lift weights because they don't want to get bulky. They want to look feminine or whatever. Do you think, what has it done for your confidence? And being so young, do you think that confidence would carry over for a younger woman?
Yes. So it takes a lot of work to get bulky. It takes a lot of food, and it takes a lot of training day in and day out. You're not going to get bulky with, your 10-minute hit and your sit-ups. And when you just, eat like, not consistently, it takes a lot of consistency. For me, muscle is beautiful. Muscle says,
hell yeah.
Muscle says I'm a hard worker without even having to say it. So for me, I've never understood. I mean, your body, you look how you want to look. But for me, when I see, my shoulder and people notice my muscle through even just a t-shirt, that just, it creates a sense of resiliency. And it definitely does carry over into other aspects of life. Even right now, I'm a server. And that was really hard for me to, approaching customer service. I've always worked in customer service, but approaching people, and I've never been one to be, confident in a sense. And, I'm like, oh, like I'm going to stutter, or they can just see right through me. But now that I feel, I can bring my shoulders farther back, and
Hell yeah.
I have, I have to tell myself, do not let it get to your head. You're not, there's always somebody doing better than you. But now that, I do carry more of a confidence on me, because I'm like, look at what you can do in the gym. I'll even record myself sometimes. I'm like, and I'll watch it again and again. I'm like, look at your form. Look how good. And I do give myself praise when I can, because that's so important. So I'll be like, wow, you can do that. Look at what you're capable of. Think about what else you're capable of somewhere else. So it's definitely done so much to my confidence.
Yeah. How about, so in high school, everything's hectic, everything's crazy. Yeah. You're trying to figure out who you are. There's a lot of pressure going on from your peers and stuff like that. Did finding the gym, finding that outlet help you establish your individuality?
It definitely did. And I think a lot of the time, I never was one to be too girly growing up. And then,
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither.
And then, I became girlier, growing up. And then when I got into the gym, I'm like, well, I still want to be girly. And, but it's so, I'm like, this is, now I can push through thresholds, and but in doing all of that and still being female and feminine, it's done so much. It's different, and I can't imagine again who I would be without, training at least a little bit. But I don't want to let it it does define me, and that's definitely part of me, but I try not to let it consume me. There's a fine line, because I'm like, well, this is just an hour of your day. There's so many other parts of your day that you need to attend to, and it's just, fitness is just one thing that I'm kind of good at. Yeah. So I'm like, this is something I bring to the table, but it's not all I have to offer. So does that kind of answer?
No, it does. And then so that leads me to another question. Would you ever want to, or have an interest in becoming a influencer on social media? Or do you think that would just stack on to your plate?
It's funny you say that, because I actually stepped off of social media. So I had an Instagram where I would post my videos, and I don't know what I was trying to do with them. Like, am I trying to be like influencer-esque? Is this what I'm trying to do? I would post my meals and my workouts, and I realized as time went on, my workout wasn't complete without me filming. I had to get this angle. Oh no, like my hair looks bad here. Let me do this dumbbell snatch again. So it really devoured me. So I think that being the more influencer, I have a very addictive personality. And if I keep doing it over and over again, making these videos, then I feel like I have to keep it up, and then social media. So stepping off of social media, I deleted Snapchat completely. I haven't been on my Instagram in a long time. It's changed the game. So I think being an influencer, at least for my personality type, would not be good. Yeah. So I'm like, well, now if you want to post because you want to. Yeah. Post because, but now don't do a certain workout just because you want to post it. Yeah. Work out the way you want. And then if you want to post something of that, then fine. Yeah. But I just see the world from a different, and
it's time consuming as well.
Yeah. It is time consuming.
To kind of figure out, like, do I like this picture? Do I like this one? What do I want the thumbnail to be? And it's like,
and it's painful.
Yeah.
Because you put in all this time and effort, and if it doesn't get a certain amount of likes, you don't feel good.
Yeah.
If it
I'm like,
doesn't,
I'm like, no one slid up on this one.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong?
Right.
And I'm like, it's not, you didn't do anything wrong. And I can't make up these situations that aren't even existent. Yeah. It's driving stress that, you're making up your own stress.
We always look for the bad of everything, as opposed to just like doing it, moving on, doing it, moving on. As far as the femininity part that you were talking about, it's your essence. Yeah. You are a strong woman. Just from, like, I'm pretty sure for you as well, my point of view, your physique, your greatness doesn't change that.
Yeah.
Personally, like, it's just, you know what I'm saying? So You're not going to reach everyone. We've had the
Yeah.
episode that we call Not Everyone's Cup of Tea.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is, you know.
Yeah.
You're not going to be everyone's, but that's fine. You don't want to be everyone's. You just want to
Yeah.
be who you are and just be as authentic.
Mhm.
And you're doing that. So
Yeah, thank you.
kudos and much respect for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and add on to that, and I'm just going to say it differently. I knew that you were a hard worker just by physical. I knew you were nice just
Mhm.
because you've had conversations with me. But after
Yeah.
sitting with you today,
Yeah.
you are smart. You are funny.
Oh.
You're beautiful. You're a hard worker. It's just I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and
Yeah.
sit with us today.
This was so
Yeah.
fun.
I already knew all
you.
those things. So welcome to the club.
And likewise, you guys. Thank you.
No, the
Yeah, no,
pleasure's
for
ours.
sure.
So much
Thank you for
fun.
Yeah.
coming on. The pleasure's ours, definitely.
Yes.
Take us
Yeah.
out properly, dog.
Why do you always trick me like that? Sometimes I
Because-
think like it's you and then it's me and it's like,
Take us out properly.
okay, first of all, is there anything that you want to put out there as far as like the social media that you want, you know, follow Rena at, or, you know, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or
I mean,
anything, like even if it's like your
Final message, final
yeah,
words, final thoughts.
I mean, especially for like just anyone kind of along the same lines as me that feels like they can't really step away from fitness or that it's hard, you know, just I would want to say don't let anything define you. You know, don't let it overpower you. You always have a choice. The option is yours, how you want, you know, to live your life, and you decide what consumes you. You know, you don't let anything overpower you or overtake. Don't let anything have that much control over you.
Yeah.
You get to decide.
Damn, you're
always
like one
get
of my
to
favorite
choose.
people right now.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I like this a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, that was
That
very
would
well
be
said.
my last.
Again,
remark.
we appreciate you coming on the show. It's our pleasure. For Rena, our special guest, for the journey, I am the algorithm. Now I'm the algorithm. In a good way.
Yeah,
Not the
dude.
bad algorithm.
Yes, sir.
I could be bad. The Sonder experience. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that wonderful stuff. Do it so that other people can reach the channel and get this wonderful content. Again, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
That's good.